This gap shows up in every company that I've ever worked with. Leadership sets a big goal in a boardroom. Then that goal gets whispered down through 5 layers of management, kind of like a game of telephone. And by the time it reaches the front line, it does not even sound like the same goal. Nobody planned to sabotage it. It just got lost in translation, one meeting at a time. Now, you might think, okay, Nigel, this sounds bad, but is it actually common? So let's look at the data, the numbers. I'm going to keep this simple. No spreadsheet, I promise. Bain Company, one of the biggest consulting firms in the world. They studied over 24,000 change projects inside companies. You know how many actually hit their original goal? 12 out of every 100, like flights at an airport. Imagine you show up and the departures board says only 12 out of every 100 flights actually land where they said they would. The other 88 just kind of end up somewhere, maybe. You'd never be flying again. Yet, that's basically the success rate of company strategy. Harvard Business Review looked at this too. They found that only about 1 out of every 8 big company transformations, that just means a big company-wide change, actually sticks around long-term. McKinsey, another huge research and consulting firm, has been studying this for over 15 years. Their number, only about 3 out of every 10 executives say their big company change both worked and actually lasted. Here's where it gets interesting though. BCG, another major firm, studied 850 companies. They found only 35 out of 100 digital change projects that hit their goal. But this is the important part. BCG found 2 things that flip those odds completely. When companies had a clear, connected strategy, meaning the plan actually made sense from the top all the way to the bottom, and leaders were actually committed to the plan all the way down through middle management and not just the top. Success jumped from 3 out of 10 all the way up to 8 out of 10. This is the most important stat in the whole video. Now, let's talk about the middle managers just for a moment, because I just used that term and some of you might be picturing someone specific, from a sitcom. A middle manager is just a person stuck in the middle of the org. They are not the CEO making the big decisions. They are not the frontline worker doing the work, the daily task. They're the person in between who's supposed to turn the big decision into daily tasks. Picture a football team. Head coach stands on the sideline and yells, "Win the game." Great advice. Very inspiring. Totally useless. Somebody has to actually call the plays. Tell the quarterback what to do. This specific down. Somebody has to actually call the play. Tell the quarterback what to do on this specific down. That play caller is your middle manager. Nobody gives them the authority to call plays. The team just stands, makes up their own plays, and fights over which play to actually run. Middle managers equal the play callers. Let's keep going with the data. PMI, the Project Management Institute, studied over 5,800 project professionals just last December, and only half of the projects actually succeeded. 13 out of 100 failed completely. 37 out of 100 where they only half worked. They kind of limp across the finish line, late over budget, or missing half of what they promised. And Gartner, who focuses a lot on technology, surveyed over 3,100 tech leaders, the CIOs, the people running technology for big companies. Only 48 out of 100 tech projects actually hit their goals. So here's a pattern across every single one of these studies from completely different research firms, looking at completely different industries. It's basically a coin flip, or worse, whether a strategy actually turns into results. That's not bad luck. That's a broken system. And the good news hiding right there in the BCG numbers is that it is fixable. Okay, so how do you actually fix this? I've got 4 ways. None of them require hiring an army of consultants. Let's go one at a time. Fix number 1, the 1-sentence rule. Here it is. Every single team in your company should be able to say in 1 sentence, a simple sentence, how their daily work connects to the company's top goal. Not a paragraph, not a slide deck, 1 sentence. Something like, I process customer refund. I process customer refunds faster, so customers stay with us longer, which is the year's top goal. The plan was never actually explained to them. It was just announced. Announcing is standing at the front of a room and saying words. Explaining means people can repeat it back in their own words. Those are very different things. And most companies only ever do the first one. Fix number 2, check in on your priorities every 3 months, if not more often, not just once a year. A once-a-year strategy meeting is like checking your GPS 1 time at the start of a road trip and then tossing your phone out the window. The world changes. Your competitors change. Your customers change. If you only check in once a year, you find out you took a wrong turn 11 months too late. 3 months gives you enough time to actually see results, but it's often enough to catch problems before they get too big. And depending on the kind of project change initiative you have, you want to maybe check in more frequently. Fix number 3, give middle managers real power and real ownership, not just information. Remember our play caller from the football analogy? If you just hand the play caller a memo that says the coach wants us to win and no actual authority to call a play or adjust the game plan or spend the team's timeouts, they're just a messenger. Give your middle managers the ability to make real decisions and control some of the budget for their piece of the plan. When they own a piece of it, they fight for it. When they're just relaying messages, they shrug and they pass the blame upward, and they're not really supporting your strategy. Fix number 4, build a simple way to check if the daily work is actually moving the big goal forward. And I want to be clear about what I mean here. I don't mean some giant dashboard with 40 charts that one person built once and nobody has opened since. That's like a smoke detector that's so complicated, nobody knows how to turn it on, and so it just sits there, beeping north while the kitchen fills with smoke. I mean, 3 to 5 simple numbers checked regularly that tell you the truth about whether things are going well or things are going badly. Simple, honest, and boring is exactly what you want here. Boring numbers save companies. Exciting dashboards just look nice in a meeting that no one's really paying attention. So let's bring it all together. The strategy execution gap is the empty space between a great plan in the boardroom and what your team actually does every day. It happens because the plan gets announced, not explained, and the fix is 4 simple things. 1, the 1-sentence rule, so everyone can connect their work to the big goal. 2, check in every 3 months, once a year. 3, give your middle managers real power, not just messages to pass along. And 4, build a few simple, honest numbers that tell you the truth about progress. Do those 4 things, and remember that BCG number from earlier. Success can jump from 3 out of 10 to 8 out of 10. That's not a small improvement. That's the difference between a company that talks about change and a company that actually changes. Read the article. Now, everything I just walked you through, the Bain numbers, the Harvard Business Review, McKinsey research, the BCG breakdown, the PMI and Gartner studies, all of it, plus a lot more detail that I didn't have time for here, is written out full in my LinkedIn article. It's called The Strategy Execution Gap. And it's article number 2 in my 5-part series on the biggest problems facing delivery leaders today. We'll do that again. Now, everything I just walked you through, the Bain numbers, the Harvard Business Review numbers, the McKinsey research, the BCG breakdown, the PMI and Gartner studies, all of it, plus a lot more detail I didn't have time for in this video. It's written out in full in my LinkedIn article. It's called The Strategy Execution Gap, and it's article number 2 in my 5-part series on the biggest problem facing delivery leaders. If you want the sources, the exact numbers, and a deeper breakdown that you can actually share with your leadership team, go read it. The link is right below this video. It takes about 5 minutes, and it might save your team a much longer, much more painful year. Now, if any of this hit a little close to home, here's what I actually do. I'm Nigel Thomas, and I run Simplify Management. I spent over 20 plus years in leading big, complicated projects inside big companies. So I've lived inside this gap myself more times than I'd like to admit. Now I coach executives, delivery leaders, and project sponsors, and project managers. Basically anyone whose job is to turn a big plan into real results. Working with me looks like this. We sit down with your actual strategy, the real one, not the polished version from the slide deck. And we find exactly where your gap is. Is it the 1-sentence rule? Is it your middle managers? Is it your check-ins? Then we fix it together with a plan your team can actually run with. No 40-page reports that sit in a drawer, just clear, practical steps that close the gap. Just clear, practical steps that close the gap between what you plan and what actually happened. If that sounds like something your team needs, there's a link in the description. Let's talk. So back to that road trip. Your company already knows where the beach is. The question is whether anyone in the backseat actually knows it too, and whether they're just staring out the window hoping you're headed somewhere good. Strategy is not the plan you write. Strategy is the plan your team can actually repeat back to you and actually act on every single day. Close that gap and everything else gets easier. I'm Nigel Thomas. Thanks for watching. Article 3 in this series is coming soon, and trust me, it's just as messy as this one. See you in the next video.